Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Matt. I'm with True North Accounting, and I'm here with Curtis, who will go through a quick intro.
Yeah, I definitely will once you flip to the intro slide.
Oh, okay.
We have who is True North Accounting. Most of you know us, some of you don't. So we'll just we're CPA firm in Calgary and Okotoks. Matt and I are the two partners, and we've got a team of helpful people under us that help us get through all the stuff we need to get to on a daily basis. So we've been doing the webinars on a monthly basis now, and we're keeping them coming. This one's going to be focused on year-end preparation and sort of what you can do and the tools we use to make the year-end flow smoothly.
Okay, I'll go through the agenda today. Sorry for my hat and facial hair. Haven't been able to get out to a barber in this lockdown here, but yeah, well, we're here today to go through the year-end onboard, like the year-end kickoff for your corporate taxes. So delivering documents, signing off, e-signatures, and there's one other one. Oh, our proposal is what we're going to start with. So we'll take you through a bunch of screenshots, what to expect as a client of ours, and it's all paperless. We don't know what COVID is going to do to us this year. We've been locked down for a while now, and we were last season, so we're going to approach this like we are going to be fully digital this tax season. So the first half of the hour, we'll be going through the presentation, and then we'll have lots of time at the end for questions. Don't know if you can hear that, but my dog is drinking water right beside me. Okay.
We can hear it, yeah. You're good.
So the purpose is just to lay a clear, simple path for kicking off your year end. Okay.
Yeah, some of the why, like as Matt mentioned, COVID has changed the way we've done things. When COVID initially rolled around, we were in kind of partially trying to get paperless and make things easier, not only for ourselves but for everybody, because if you have to drive down to the office to sign one piece of paper, it can be a pain. So finding the tools and getting everything, making everything easier and quicker is beneficial for everybody. So they're definitely out there. We use them, and we try to find whatever we can to make the not only the year-end process easier, but anything that pops up throughout the year. So we don't know what it's going to look like or when the restrictions are going to lift and things are back to normal, but we've got a pretty good process in place for handling everything that needs to happen during the year end. So we'll walk you through what that's like from your perspective.
Perfect. So I guess one of the first things that our clients will see and have to go through is our proposal, which includes our engagement letter. And that the engagement letter is something that we're required by CPA Alberta to have for every client. And it's just a clear outline of all the services we're going to provide. And one of our guarantees is we provide a price upfront, so you don't get any surprise bills. It's all inclusive. We don't bill by the hour. We don't nickel and dime you for questions or little things here and there. So we'll go through the proposal in detail to start off. And another slick thing with our proposal program is it handles all the payment processing on a set schedule. It can be credit card or pre-authorized debit. So the first thing you'll see is an email from or with a subject line that says True North Accounting's proposal for whatever your corporation. We've used Dummy Corp, that's Curtis's corporation. But you might get yours in an email, and it's just like a link if there's a bunch of other stuff outlined. But generally look for that email coming from either myself, Curtis, Caitlin, or Karen. Karen's the other one that might be sending these out. So this is what it looks like. You would just click either the button at the top or the link here at the bottom. There's the 2 arrows, and that will take you into the proposal, which this is a screenshot. The first page is typically either a video or a brochure, and it's just general information about True North Accounting, who we are, the approach or the process that we follow, and just some of the benefits, as well as our core values. And but yeah, it's just general information about us. There is a next button in the top right-hand corner that, depending on what you're viewing the proposal on, if it's a phone or a laptop, or it can look a little bit different. And sometimes the next button can be small, but you can see there's at the bottom, there's a few pages to scroll through. So you just got to hit the next button to go to the next page. And yeah, sometimes you'll just have the one proposal. If we know what we're doing for you, we'll give you one option. Other times there'll be a couple different options. Like this example here has 2 different packages, one including bookkeeping. So we're doing the bookkeeping for you, and the other packages will set you up on our systems like Xero and Hubdoc, and you do the bookkeeping yourself. So if your proposal has these options, you have to select one of them before you can scroll to the next page and see the detailed service and the payment schedule and all that.
For new clients, or if something significant has changed in your business, maybe we talk our way through something else you need. Maybe you don't want to do the bookkeeping, or maybe you're on the fence about doing the T4s yourself versus handing them off. So maybe there's going to be 2 options that come to you. But if things are the same year to year, you might not see this one. It might just be the one proposal, and you'll see the services that are all included.
Yeah, so like this is a brief summary, like on this page, brief summary of the 2 packages and what's included. If you go to the next page, this is like a detailed description of all the services, and they didn't even all fit on this page. And so yeah, it's a good idea just to review this list and make sure there's nothing in there that you didn't want, or conversely, like, is there anything missing, like personal taxes included in your corporate proposal, anything like that. Yeah, so if you don't understand what any of these are, this proposal it's exactly that. Like, we can adjust it, we can go back and forth, and yeah, you're not forced to accept anything you're not you're not happy with. Anything to add on this?
No, just double check that it all makes sense, that you're agreeing to what you're getting and what you're paying for, and just keep clicking next to kind of scroll through the rest of the proposal.
Yeah, and so the services, we do include like a CPA review meeting and CRA representation, full client support. Those are typically included in all of our packages. So the payment schedule, the payment schedule can cause a little bit of confusion, I guess. If, like, say you come 8 months into your year end and you want to go on monthly, there can be a catch-up payment. In the example that I show here, this is a monthly payment schedule, and it started January 1st, so there's like one catch-up payment for that January 1st, and then it'll be $420 plus GST coming out on the 1st of each month.
And we offer the monthly payment option. We like that one. We find people really like it. It helps not only for budgeting and cash flow for clients, it helps for us as well. And the idea is that it lines up with the company's year end, and then by year end, you're fully paid and you don't ever see a big invoice from us. And so, yeah, payment schedule, click through to this one. You're going to click add payment and be able to enter your payment details, and you don't have to remember 2 months later that you forgot to drop by the office and pay for the year end. And it makes it really easy to submit payment online.
Yeah, and if you're basically locking into a price. So if you accept this and keep the payments going, Like you're not gonna see fluctuations in your price year to year. It's another benefit. The other option to monthly is 50% on acceptance and 50% on completion. That's the other option we have for payment. And again, it can, just going back to payment, you can enter in your pre-authorized debit, so your transit number, institution, and account number, and it will take it right out of your account or your credit card. So accepting the proposal, this is the page that has the engagement letter. So you scroll down it. The engagement letter, if you print it out, it's like 4 or 5 pages, but it's a lot of like just legal stuff that we need to have in it. It's basically a template from CPA Alberta that's just customized with the services and the price and all that were explained in the proposal. You can download a copy of the engagement letter by clicking this view PDF link at the top, or you can read it all through right there. You hit the accept. You tick this little box here. That can be hard to find for some people, but you tick that off, and then you just type in your name, and that electronically signs it, and then you hit accept, and you are all signed up. Then we get notified, and we're good to go.
Now, so that's sort of the software we use for the proposal, engagement letter, payment structure to get you all signed up and going, or to sort of renew for the following year as well. Next is Carbon. We're going to talk about, so our sort of digital delivery of documents and how we ask questions, get stuff from you. It also keeps us in line internally. So right after we have things internally set up. We're so naturally deadline focused month to month because that's just how tax deadlines work, right? We have to be. And so the way we've got it set up is the day after your company year end, you're going to receive an email from us, and it's going to have a checklist that we need to complete, or it could be after a quarterly GST filing period, a certain time during personal tax time. And so you're going to get this this email, and you're going to see it could come from Matt, it could come from me, it could come from Jen or Karen or Caitlin, it could come from a number of people, but it's going to have a title. It's going to show True North Accounting, please complete the checklist. And it shows the checklist, and you can click right into it. At the bottom of the email, there's another button to access the checklist. And so you'll first get it in the email, you click in, and once you click in to access it, it's an added level of security. It asks for a 4-digit PIN. And so you can just set a 4-digit PIN right there. And it's so much more secure than paper, more convenient, environmentally friendly, and more secure than sending like if there's something you don't want sent out by email. Hackers are getting more and more better and better all the time. So it's an added level of security. You enter your PIN, and once you hit login, you're looking at the checklist. So
yeah, we find that like this system it's the right balance between cybersecurity and like not putting our clients' information at risk, and convenience. Like there's some super secure methods of doing this that require like a whole other logins and usernames and just one other login to add to your list. This we find is like a pretty straightforward, user-friendly compromise. It comes in an email, and when you type in the code, it's a portal. It's a secure portal, encrypted, all that with like the highest level of security. But when you get into it, it is just a checklist. That's all. There's nowhere else to go. There's no other functionality. It's just, please deliver us these documents, or please provide us this information. It's got a list of tasks that you click on. So you click on the third one in this screen here. This one's asking for bank statements, which bank statements we'll get to in a little bit, but it's really like the most critical piece of what we need to get your year end going. And here's just an example. Like you can click the upload files and attach documents right to it. I had a client this week that had uploaded 12 bank statements for like 7 different bank accounts. So and they were all attached to one task. So it was just a huge list, but it was great. We can just download them all to our folder for that client, and we got everything. You can also comment in this section. Generally, if the document looks like this, we get a lot of questions like people upload the documents and then they ask, please confirm you got this. Yeah, if it looks like this, we got it. Add a comment here. This one hasn't been submitted yet, but yeah, you can ask questions, you can answer questions, you can, this is like a direct link to the accountant working on your file. If you ask a question here, they'll get notified and get right back and answer you, and you get notified. So it's like a live link right to the person that's working on your file.
Yeah, the first time you go through it, maybe there's a slight learning curve, but once you do it the second time, or even once you just click in for 15 seconds, it's pretty simple to just attach, comment, and some of our checklists even have walkthroughs at the top if it's the first time seeing it, so you can kind of get a more detailed explanation how it works. But the ability to go into online banking, pull your bank statements, and then save those PDFs and attach them right away, we've got the bulk of what we need. The biggest step 1 is done, and yeah, the instant notification to get answers to questions, you can answer things right there. So and it also keeps you on track because you see every item that we're going to need, and if you go through the list, read each one, tick each one off as complete, then we know you're done, and we can get working on things. So it's some people will ask for it early, even just to make sure that they're going to be on track and that they've got everything ready to go. So completing it, you can see what's highlighted here. The tick box beside it turns that task gray, crosses it out. You can see clearly it's like it's done. You've ticked it off. It's complete. Even if it doesn't apply, you could just tick it off or comment not applicable. But just ticking it off would indicate, yeah, nothing to do here. So we also get a notification when you're done your checklist. The checklist we can set it up to remind you. So if you get it, you look at it, you're busy, and you're like, oh, I'll get to this later. You completely forget because your email inbox gets flooded or something else takes priority. In a couple days, sometimes 5 days later, 7 days later, whatever we have it set to in that case, you'll get a reminder email, hey, this checklist isn't complete. And once you're done, you've ticked everything off, we get notified differently where it's, hey, this is done, we can work on it. So it's a really good way to let it guide the process.
Yeah, and some of the tasks, like there's a home office one where we've attached a template to the task. So you open it up and there's an Excel document that you can use to fill out like your utilities and home insurance and cell phone and all that. Any of those like personally paid expenses, we'll go through that. And as Curtis mentioned, there's the second task there has a link to a 5-minute video that just walks you through. It's Curtis on a screen just walking you through how to upload everything, what we need. So it's pretty slick. And then, yeah, we get notified when you've completed all the tasks, either they're marked not applicable or you delivered or answered the questions. So once it's complete, that's when we know we can get in there and start working.
And if you're a client already and you are sick of hearing me talk all the time, then you can ignore that one. You don't have to click in and watch it and listen to me talk for another 5 minutes, but more than welcome to.
And so the one benefit here that we did mention is the security aspect of it. And there was one course I was taking that explained how when you send an email, like if I'm emailing Curtis, might be different because we're the same company, but emailing a client, there's 6 points that email can be intersected by somebody who wants that information. That, like, and if it's a tax return that has your social insurance number, your address, your full name, your birth date, that's like all they need to steal an identity. And they're just taking it, selling your identity to somebody on the internet, and yeah, who knows where it goes from there. But so rather than email, we suggest 3 different ways to deliver these documents. The Carbon portal, which we just went through, checklist portal, kind of interchangeable. It's kind of both. That's our preferred method. If you have a bunch of documents, like 12 months of bank statements for 5 or 7 different accounts, we can also send a Dropbox link, and that's typically so we can like set up a shared Dropbox folder, and we typically have one of these for each of our clients anyways, where we keep all the final like tax returns, any deliverables, like completed packages, we'll keep copies saved in that folder anyways. And you can ask us like, oh, can you share that? And then you always have access to your tax returns, or you can download them yourself. But Dropbox is secure as well. My favorite new app is Hubdoc. It's not that new, but it will download all your bank statements for you. And it's also a way to collect receipts and bills and invoices, all of your business documents. We'll get into that a little bit or in a couple of slides here, but Hubdoc is great.
And just a quick note, some people are still paper people. They want that to see the physical documents they have, and we still have people drop off physical bank statements, and it's fine. It still works. It's so just know that the checklist will come out to you anyways. And so I sometimes will find myself I'll have someone say like, I want to print them and have them in front of me so I know I've got them, and it's their reminder. But if that applies, like, use the checklist as sort of a guide. Still, you can still comment, we'll bring it, we'll drop off on Monday, or you can still use that checklist to communicate with us and keep us informed. But yeah, just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, and since like bank and credit card statements are like your de facto ledger, like when you're a small business, nobody does cash transactions anymore. So as long as you're keeping all your business transactions to your business bank and credit card, that like it's tracking all your expenses. So there's no need to like track things on your own. So it's the most critical part. The best way is to get those bank statements, credit card statements to us. Number 1, Hubdoc. I'll just go through a quick slide next that shows you what that looks like. Second best option is PDF or .csv statements delivered through Carbon or Dropbox. And then the third option is paper statements, which we do convert them to Excel and import them. So they do need to be clean. So if you drop us off statements that are all marked up and highlighted business and personal, that it's very nice that you went through that process, but we still need a different type of
clean copy that otherwise we can't really have it imported the same way. And if you're not sure, CSV is essentially the default file type that you'll download. It looks like Excel, if you're, just in case you don't know.
Yeah, and if you do get CSV, we probably do also need PDFs. But yeah, we can talk about that later. This is what Hubdoc looks like. And so any client that is on a 0 plan with us gets a free Hubdoc account. And what it does, you click on this like add account button at the top left, and you log into your bank. In this case, it's RBC. And it will just download all the statements available, which right now I think you can go at least 18 months back for most banks, and it will just import all of them. So, and like instantly for all the accounts in that login. So it is, and like for the most recent ones, it will also download the .csv. Yeah, it's just very slick. There's no, if you've ever logged into your online banking and downloaded statements one at a time, it can be, especially with RBC, it's like 10 clicks and 30 seconds of waiting for each statement. So this saves that time. To summarize Hubdoc, it will fetch your bank statements, like I just showed you. You can also email bills that have been emailed to you, like you have invoices to pay, whether they're subcontractors or, and anything that any bill you have to pay that gets emailed to you, you can set up a rule where it just gets forwarded to your Hubdoc account. We have like a truenorthaccounting@hubdoc.com email address, and I just forward all the bills to Hubdoc and they get saved in there. There's also an iPhone app. You just snap a picture of a receipt, take somebody for a coffee or a lunch, or pick up supplies at Home Depot, get your receipt, take a picture of it, and it gets saved in that same portal. Just like on the left side here, under uploads will just be a bunch of bills. So those are the 3 core functions of Hubdoc that really just automate so much of what we need to get your year end ready.
Keeps you organized on the fly, so you don't have to worry about it being, you just handed everything off to us and we're working on stuff, and you open your wallet and you realize you had a bunch of crumpled up receipts or some box you forgot, or we asked for a new truck you purchased and you have no idea where it is. If you, yeah, it can automate a lot of that. So
yeah, paper receipts don't last very long in a pickup truck, and if you use a truck for your line of work, you know what I mean.
Year-end calculations and templates. So there's always a few extra things that we need to get our hands on over and above what goes through the company statements, the bank and credit card. So the most common ones, we have it attached to one of the checklist items. So in the home office section down near the bottom of the year-end checklist, you'll see this template sitting there, and you can click on it, open it, download it, and it'll open up. It'll have the different tabs at the bottom. And so we've got home office costs. Now, home office costs, you don't pay for it by the business, you're paying for it personally, but you get a write-off in the company. So same with mileage. If there's a lot of apps and people use different ways to track their mileage, but we've got sort of a default one in case you don't have something on your own. Tracking owner's draws, tracking expenses you've paid personally, and another one that we find quite often, e-transfers. On bank statements, an e-transfer shows what? It just shows e-transfer. So you'll end up with a big list of questions and us saying, hey, tell us what all these e-transfers are. We need to figure them out so we can categorize them properly. So it has a separate tab where you can go and do that. You can pull that info from some online banking portals. I know a few that will have a separate section where you can get the details of each e-transfer. Downloading that every couple months to make sure it doesn't disappear as far as the online banking history, but it's sort of one template that you can download, use, and re-upload to us to capture all those extra things that we're gonna ask about anyways. And if it's a great way to provide extra write-offs, right? The home office, the mileage, summarizing your draws, so we know what sort of wages or dividends we're gonna do out to you. It's right in that year-end checklist, and you can download it and put it right back after filling it out.
Yeah, it just gives us everything just the way we want it, and makes everybody in our office very happy. You'll make our favorite client list if you follow all these procedures and templates. So yeah, when we're done a tax return, either your corporate tax return or your personal, we can't e-file it unless we have you sign off that you've reviewed it. It's usually called a authorization to e-file form. And with COVID and with COVID, we're going digital with everything. And CRA has accepted that digital signatures or electronic signatures are fine. So we use HelloSign. It's like, I first learned about it because my lawyer uses it, and I figure if it's good enough for a law firm, it's good enough for an accounting firm. It was also acquired by Dropbox, and so it's easily integrated for us, and it's the most user-friendly program that we found. We used another one last year, and we just had so many calls. How do I do this? It's not working. How do I know it went through? So we're just gonna, HelloSign is much more clear, but we'll run through just what it looks like.
It's easier, much easier to use. It's intuitive. When you open it up, you get the email that you have something to sign. You can't mess up, and you get it, and it's clear that you've signed and that you're done and what to do. We'll go through a quick example, but just to clarify one thing, there's a CRA form, the authorization form to file. We have to have that signed. So there's some, we can use certain tools, we can do certain things certain ways to make things as easy as possible, but there's certain CRA rules we can't get around. We have to get a signature on the e-file form, and we can't file without it. So it's part of the process. It has to get signed, and this lets you do it from your phone, from the couch kind of thing.
Yeah. So this page that we're looking at right now, this is just a snapshot or like a screenshot of what the email looked like in my Gmail when I opened it. So you just click on the button that says review and sign, and it will open up the document. You scroll through, there's typically one, sometimes two if we've combined documents, but one field where you just click to sign, and it opens up something that looks like this. And you don't need to draw your signature with your finger if you're on your phone or your mouse. You can upload a signature. So this is a screenshot of mine that I just keep handy in a easily accessible folder. You can also just pick a font, like a script font, like a handwritten font, and just type it, like type your name in, or you can draw it.
Once you use it once and you do draw your signature or save your signature, it will remember that, and it'll just use it again the next time you use this. And the signature boxes you can't miss them. They're clearly outlined. If you try to go to the next page, it'll say, nope, you missed one. It'll bring you back and highlight it for you. So
yeah, you'll get this box at the top that says almost done when you're done. Like when you've hit all the boxes, then you just have to click the I agree. And when you get to this, thanks for submitting your document, when you get to that page, you know you're done. And we'll get notified. And yeah, there's nothing more to it.
It comes right back to us. We get the signed copy back immediately. We get notified. There's nothing else you have to do. You know we have it, and we can proceed. So to summarize, like in order to get your small business ready for tax season, review the following, right? There's going to be a proposal. You got to review and sign the proposal. It's got the engagement letter, all the services, and payment structure that needs to be set up. Then there's delivering all the documents to us. So carbon checklist goes out, and follow along with the checklist, comment, upload. We get notifications. If we need other requests, we can reach out to you, and you'll get email notifications if there's something missing or we need something extra. There's those additional year-end calculations that sort of a little bit of a different one, because it's different. It's not the same for everybody, but we have a template that helps make it easier. There's many ways to do it. And then final sign off, we can do it electronically, and it's all guided with that hello sign to make it simple and effortless. So if any of these, some people have seen these already, they're used to using similar programs, but the tools we've selected to do this and guide this year-end process for us, we've picked them for a reason, because they're easy to use, and it almost, once you're 5 minutes into it, it feels like you know what to do, and it's very, very intuitive and easy. So yeah, just like anything, once you do it once or twice, it becomes second nature.
Yeah. So now it's time for questions. Along the bottom, there's the ask a question function. Ask something and then vote in, we'll answer. We'll answer any questions you guys have. We have the next 25 minutes to get into it.
We can answer questions. We expected this one to be a little bit of a lighter one, just because it's not as heavy of a topic as, say, wages versus dividends, things like that. But it's great to, if you just want to type them right in the chat bar, we can answer them on the fly. We can talk about the poll question. Matt, I think this is the first time we're actually under time before we got to the question phase. So
yeah, 1 minute. We do still have this one last slide. This is just for T4 slips. It's kind of like a pressing matter, because T4 slips are due February 28th, and all these COVID programs like CERB and the CRB, which is the sole like the self-employed one, and then Qs, which is the 10% wage or the 75% wage subsidy, and then TWS or twos is the 10% wage subsidy. These have all been paid out, and now the government is changing how T4 slips are done this year, so that they can kind of verify and just kind of do their audit or they're forcing us to do their auditing for them. So there's a few changes to T4 slips. So if you have any questions about that, or if you have that on your plate, you have to do T4s for employees in the next month. You can ask us questions about that too.
Yeah, every T4 created this year is going to have a bunch of new boxes, and it's going to be it's a challenge for everybody. But I think it's CRA's only way of getting the information, forcing everybody else to do the work for them. So every employer, every T4 slip is going to be a little different this year. Debbie, question: with any disadvantage to using Dropbox? So no, there's not. Some people, we've been using Dropbox for a while. We've been using Dropbox longer than we've been using the checklist format. So the checklist, like, we have a shared Dropbox and we can instantly get those documents, right? So we know we had it. You can I guess, no, there's no disadvantage to using it. It's safe, it's secure, it's owned by Microsoft, right?
I know it's its own.
Is it?
It's its own. Well, Microsoft uses like ShareFile or like OneDrive.
Right.
So we've been using it. We've been using Dropbox for Business for 5 years, and we chose it because at that time it was the most widely used consumer product. So it was a wider chance that the average person, like our client, would have experience with Dropbox. Like Google Drive is super easy to use as well, or iCloud. It's similar to those, but what it is just it's a cloud server. It's a server in the cloud, basically. You can share files. Everything's encrypted and fragmented. So like if you send us that home office template, a piece of it will be saved in Seattle and a piece in BC and a piece in Ireland. And it's just very, very hard for the information to get stolen or hacked. Like your information might not all be stored in Alberta, which if you are an investment advisor, or I don't know, there's certain like industries where it's a rule that your data all has to be in the jurisdiction that you're in. But the way it is, it's so much more secure, and it's just easier. If our office burned down, we'd still have everything because it's in the cloud.
That's Dropbox 101 with Matthew Peterson.
Well, I can keep going. That's our only question.
Yeah, Deb, if you see the checklist, like we still use the checklist. Like there's an internal part of it that keeps us on track as well. So if you see the checklist and you fully commit and you use Dropbox already, you can simply comment, tick all the boxes off so we know you're done the checklist, and have a comment in there, see my Dropbox folder. And bingo, we know you've completed everything. We know we've got a shared Dropbox folder, and we've got your info. So you can, there's no disadvantage for sure. It's great. I live and die by Dropbox.
Yeah, and since we have some extra time with no other questions, let's take a look at the polls. Okay, the first one: what's your biggest frustration with preparing documents requested by your accountant and bookkeeper? And the winner, and I completely agree, not enough time. That was really the reason that drove this webinar. Is like I had a couple of year ends earlier this year, and I had on my to-do list like, oh, get my stuff for my One Corporation's Beer Tree Holdings, and like get the year end going for Beer Tree. And I just kept moving it from one to-do list to the next. I do it on a weekly basis, and it just kept being transferred from one list to the next, to the next, to the next, because small business owners I've heard it described as like the life of a small business owner is just an endless to-do list. That's all you're doing day after day is getting through your to-do list. And it's just so easy to defer because you don't know how much time it's going to take. Excuse me. So yeah, this makes it easy and it is quick. Like if you get us your bank statements, we can get started. That's the most critical thing we need.
And it can be, for a lot of people, sometimes picking one of these, like it's a combination of them, right? How do I even know that I've got everything? Where am I getting these? I don't have enough time to do this. I'm tired at the end of the day. I've got to sort through all this. I don't even know what I need to do, right? So it's part of it. You can always ask us. Sometimes people think there's way more that they have to do than there actually is. And sure, there's so much to do anyways in running and owning a small business that it's natural. But if you're unsure, ask us. And again, the tools like saving time, finding the receipts. Hubdoc is again what we highlighted in the mid part of the webinar. It's finding them all for you. It's storing them all for you. The checklist is helping you know what you need because you can just follow the checklist and you're done. And hopefully these things do save you a little bit of time, make it easier. But
I just want to add like one thing about Hubdoc is if you try to replicate what Hubdoc does using Dropbox, for example, or iCloud and your phone, you have to take a picture of the receipt and then you have to name it. You have to figure out, am I naming it by date or by supplier or by category? So say it's a Starbucks receipt. Do I name it Starbucks January 21st, 2021 or Meals Entertainment Starbucks January 20? Like it, and that's the most time consuming part of it. Like if you've ever tried to sit down and do that, that 90% of the time is just naming and then saving it to the right folder. What Hubdoc does is it reads every document you submit and it creates or it saves it to a folder. You can customize how you want the folder to, or the folder structure to look, but the default folder structure is great. So that, like it reads the supplier, reads the date, and organizes it that way. So it sorts everything for you, and you can go through and snap 20 receipts in a row in like 2 minutes, and then they're all saved, they're named, they're accessible to us, we can match them to transactions. It's really
got another question. I'm going to cut you off.
All right.
Sean asks, what do you recommend for backup material to support home office expense allocations? For questions like these, they're hard to, there's no like default. If you bought a computer, it's like, well, the computer receipt supports it. It's really cut and dry. For these other things that have allocations, I usually tell people, like, think of what CRA would ask for. And some people don't know what that is. It's usually based on what's reasonable. Did you make some reasonable calculation? That's why they default to square footage. And if CRA asked, hey, your home office expenses look high, let's see your calculation. And so, hey, boom, you've got a template, you filled in every month, and you've got a square footage calculation at the top. So they'd probably look at that and say, hey, you've done a reasonable job, your allocation looks normal. Everybody knows or everybody has some idea, just simple common sense, like your office isn't 95% of your house, right? If they saw that, they'd be like, well, something's wrong here, we've got to look into it. But if it's reasonable to begin with, you're probably passing the audit right there, and they're not asking any further questions. Maybe if they got to the nitty gritty, they might say, okay, well, how much time are you spending there? What is the actual square footage to support the actual items that you've entered in there? As long as you have the ability to reproduce or show them your utility statements. I've been audited myself actually on home office costs before, and I think I didn't have everything as organized as I wanted to, and because I didn't anticipate an audit really. And I think I was sending them some utility bills, some NMAX stuff. And when I was looking through them and when I was compiling them and looking through them, matching them to the sheet, because they wanted the copies of those, some of them didn't actually match up. And I was like, where did I get my numbers from? And I almost had a panic attack. I just sent them anyways and they accepted them. It was reasonable in their determination, and I was off by, I must have pulled the wrong month for a couple times or whatnot, but yeah, they accepted as I sent it.
And I'll just add a couple things to that. When the CRA is asking, like say they recognize, they have all sorts of algorithms, and say your home office line item is larger than expected, or like other similar companies, so they'll start with a question, and they'll usually call or send like a letter, and if we respond to that simply with like a template or a calculation, that's usually the end of it. Like we can prevent all those audits just by providing a reasonable and timely explanation to them. But if they see that your square footage or the percentage you used is like over 15%, that's kind of the guideline that we've been using as like fly under the radar, don't push the limit. It's supposed to be dedicated office space that's only used for business. And if you really want to push it, they're going to ask for like a, what do you call it? Not a diagram, but like
Blueprint of the
blueprint. And you have to like identify the dedicated office, and offices aren't that big. Like I'm in a big office right now and it's still like 125 square feet.
Yeah. And it is changing too, where sometimes you don't even have a home office. You're just sitting at your coffee table with a laptop, and well, maybe it's the time you spend working, and you got to find some reasonable explanation for how you came up with your number. But yeah, usually if you respond right away, send them a spreadsheet, they're probably like, yep, it checks out. You're in the 95th percentile of how quick and easy and simplified you've made it for them, and they accept it. Matt, there's a couple Hubdoc questions for you to sink your teeth into.
I love these.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Hubdoc all day. So receipts, definitely, yeah. That you can download the app, and if we set you up on it, then every picture you take with the app, or you can connect it to a scanner, like a ScanSnap has a direct integration with Hubdoc. You scan it in, and it's in there. That's all you have to do. We'll take it from there. And what you're doing is you're basically audit proofing your business. If these are submitted in a timely manner, or just at the year end, even like you go through a whole stack, then they're all in there. It has OCR technology, which reads it all. Then we can match it to transactions when we're doing the bookkeeping. So you don't have to connect it to your online banking. But yeah, and the email forwarding, like that's just like emailed receipts basically that you can just forward to your Hubdoc email address, and it's all just saved there. It's like a digital collecting cabinet, like a giant shoebox that sorts things for you.
Importing them to your PC, it can, I'm almost positive it can be done, but the chance of your PC having an issue and you losing files on your PC compared to Hubdoc going down entirely and losing the ability to find them on their site is probably greatly, like there's such a bigger chance that an issue with your actual computer could go wrong, and they're probably safer online.
I got 2 points on this. Hubdoc integrates with Dropbox or Google Drive or Box or ShareFile. There's like 4 or 5 of them. And so as you take pictures with your phone, it saves to Hubdoc, but then the integration, Hubdoc will then push those files to your Dropbox or your Google Drive and save them just as like Dropbox had named it, and Hubdoc had named it and sorted it into folders. So then you can have a backup on your computer that has all your receipts. So it's like a double backup. And then going the other way, if you do have everything saved to a folder on your PC, there's a drag and drop function. So you just go to, in the top corner, there's like upload documents, and you can just take a whole folder, drag and drop it, and it will upload everything to Hubdoc. So those are two. I'm not sure which way you were intending to use it there, but both ways are super easy.
You can save so much time that you don't have to worry about the extra time you need to get ready for the year end.
Yeah, and if you're just like uploading images of receipts and it's all like image 1, image 2, image 3, you're not naming them. I haven't tried this, but I bet you could drag and drop all those files into Hubdoc, let it process them all, and then just download them again, and it will sort it all out.
Yeah.
So might be worth a shot.
And we do have second poll, digital versus paper documents, and it's 2-to-1, 6-to-3 for digital versus paper. It's turning that way as more and more stuff just isn't even available in paper, right? It's not going to be long before you can't get a paper receipt. A bank won't give you a paper statement anymore, or the paper statement fee is so astronomical you don't even want to do it. I've been in the process of trying to eliminate going to my mailbox, and so I can go a month without going and checking the mail. I've got everything converted to either emailing me a receipt or finding some other method to do it, and in a similar format. I dislike paper, and I want to get away from it. It's too easy to miss or mess up, or it's slow. It's you can accomplish so much more just by having an online banking tab open and your email open and a couple other things, and you can do so much so quickly.
Yeah, I agree. Like your home office is just so much cleaner when there's not a stack of paper and like files in your drawer that are bursting at the seams. Yeah.
Debbie, no, you don't need, all you have to have is the ability to produce it if asked by CRA. So you don't need the paper one if you have the digital one, because worst case scenario, you could print that digital one, or you could submit it online to CRA. There's so many other, so if you have it digital, you no longer need it paper. You just have to, ultimately you have to have the ability to produce the receipt.
Yeah, and that's my favorite thing about like meals and entertainment specifically, just because I'm not buying a lot of like stuff from hardware stores or like gas stations and stuff like that. But I go to a lot of Flames games, like back when they were on, and being able to just take a picture of the receipt and then throw it in the garbage. I love that. I don't have to carry around all these beer receipts and cheeseburger receipts.
Your wallet would explode after a single Flames game if that was the case.
I know, and I like to keep my wallet nice and low profile. Just my little butterfly clip and my cards. No paper. No cash.
Then final poll, or is there another question? No. Final poll was, what's your biggest hesitation with paperless banking and tax preparation? So don't know how or won't have the documentation I need. So those two kind of work hand in hand. Once you know how, or know how to use it better, you know what you can access, when you can access it, and you can set up ways to save it automatically. It's similar to some of the programs we use, going paperless banking and tax preparation. It's simply doing it a bit and getting comfortable with it. And maybe it's as simple as pulling some statements online and having in your Windows Explorer, having a little file structure that you're comfortable with. And it can be, have a tax folder. In the tax folder, have a folder for each year. And then within that, you can have each, like it could be something as basic as a simple file structure where just replicate the idea of the accordion folders or the boxes, just in digital format. And there really isn't much that you can't like you can't get. It's for paperless banking and tax preparation. There's I'm trying right now as an example to think of something that you couldn't have in digital or paperless format, and I don't know if I can.
And like I'm having a tough time wrapping my head around this answer because I just find everything in digital format is so much more accessible. Like I just know where it is. Where I guess for me, I got my home office, Bridgeland, and Okotoks. If it's a piece of paper, it could be in any one of those locations, and I just log into my ATB banking and download the statement.
It's something you just have to commit to and do. And if you're haven't done it already, and like it's pretty easy to find a walkthrough or a help article on whatever website you're trying to do things for it. You can ask us. You can probably ask a bunch of people. I'm sure if you got kids, ask them for sure. Matt, your young kids can probably already teach you something on a tablet.
Yeah, she can turn the TV on, find her show. That's a new one. But okay, well, I think we will wrap this up. It's 4 minutes early. Thank you, everybody. We have a lot of fun doing these, and we hope you get some value out of it. If you have any suggestions for future topics or things you want to dig into a little bit more, send us a note or email us, call us, put it in the chats, and we'll be doing another one of these in a couple weeks, I think, just more on Hubdoc and Xero. So thanks for sticking around to the end, even though we ran out of content 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, thanks for joining, and let us know if there's something you really want to hear us ramble about.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers.